HT Boston various tech IPO pump and dump schemes. Before we begin, remember, every story has two versions. The one the world sees, and the one whispered behind closed doors. Today, we look at a company called HT Boston, a rising star that burned too bright too fast. Sit close, my friend. The truth is colder than you think. I have lived long enough to see dreams built on nothing but smoke and hunger. And sometimes, the people who build those dreams believe in them so deeply that they forget how fragile they truly are. That is how HT Boston began, a small tech company in a rented basement office, somewhere between hope and desperation. The founders, two bright young engineers, wanted to change the world with a new kind of data sorting system. They said it could predict trends before they even happened. Investors liked the sound of that. People always want to know tomorrow's secrets today. The engineers didn't have much, just a few lines of code and a bold claim. But bold claims spread fast in a world hungry for the next big tech miracle. Soon, HT Boston grew from 5 workers to 50. Then from 50 to 500. And each time the company grew, the whispers grew with it. Everyone said the same thing. They're going to be the next giant. They cracked the code. They know something we don't. But my friend, the market loves a good story more than it loves the truth. As the company's name spread, so did the excitement for their IPO, the moment when the world could buy a piece of the dream. People saved paychecks. Friends passed tips to friends. A few bold traders even bet their futures on it. HT Boston began to feel less like a company and more like a legend. Yet behind the shining logo and the loud promises, cracks were forming. Employees whispered that the code didn't work as well as advertised. Some said whole sections were missing. Others said the system guessed more than it predicted. No one dared speak too loudly, not when the company's value rose higher each week. And somewhere deep inside the company, someone decided that the dream had to stay alive, whether it was true or not. This was the first shadow in the story. The closer HT Boston came to its IPO, the more secrets the company seemed to collect. People were hired faster than they could learn each other's names. New managers replaced old ones with no explanation. And the financial documents, my friend, those changed more than the seasons. There were numbers that grew without reason. Charts that rose impossibly straight. Claims that no small company could ever make honestly. But when money sings, people listen with closed eyes. One investor, a cautious older analyst, tried to warn others. He said the numbers felt wrong. He said it looked like someone was painting a false picture, one brushstroke at a time. But his voice was small compared to the roar of excitement around him. People do not like to be told that their golden cup is filled with sand. Inside the company, the founders felt the pressure too. They believed in their idea, yes, but belief alone cannot build the future. So when outsiders started asking deep questions about the technology, the founders told their workers to prepare a cleaner version of the system to show them. That meant removing bugs, hiding slow performance, and polishing numbers until they shined like mirrors. At first, the workers obeyed because they trusted their leaders. Later, they obeyed because they felt the ground shaking beneath their feet. There was one developer, quiet, always observing, who saw the danger clearly. She noticed that every report sent to potential investors had the same strange pattern. Growth too perfect. Adoption too fast. Predictions too accurate. She searched the internal systems and discovered a folder that only a few executives had access to. Inside were spreadsheets filled with fake data, sales that never happened, clients that didn't exist, predictions, adjusted, to fit the story people wanted to hear. Her hands trembled as she read. She knew then that HT Boston was changing from a tech dream into something else, something built not on code, but on illusion. Yet she also knew the danger of speaking up. For now, she kept her silence, watching, waiting, collecting proof. Because the IPO was coming, and with it, a storm. The day of the IPO approached like a tide no one could stop. Television hosts praised HT Boston as the future of smart data. Blogs called it a once-in-a-lifetime investment. Even the skeptical analyst from before began to doubt himself. After all, could so many people be wrong? The company building buzzed with energy. Workers moved with nervous smiles. Executives promised that HT Boston would become a household name. But behind their bright eyes, they looked exhausted, as if carrying a heavy secret. The quiet developer continued her investigation. She found emails where executives discussed smoothing out the numbers to attract investors. She found messages hinting that the IPO price needed to stay high, at any cost. She even found evidence that some early investors planned to sell their shares the moment the price peaked, a classic pump-and-dump strategy. They wanted the value to explode on day one so they could walk away rich, leaving everyone else holding the broken pieces. She knew then what had to be done. She created a secure folder and moved all the evidence she gathered into it. She planned to leak it after the IPO, when the truth would matter most, when her voice might actually be heard. But someone noticed. Someone who watched the digital logs. Someone with reason to keep the dream alive a little longer. The next morning, she found her badge disabled. Her workstation locked. A manager asked her to come into a private room for a routine conversation. She could feel the trap closing. Instead of going inside, she turned and walked straight out of the building, heart racing. She knew they were watching, so she didn't run, she just kept walking, as if she were leaving for lunch. Outside, she disappeared into the crowd. And now the clock was ticking for both sides. As the IPO day dawned, the city seemed to hold its breath. Crowds gathered outside financial buildings. Reporters rehearsed their lines. Traders warmed their fingers over glowing keyboards. Inside HT Boston, executives stood around a long table. They spoke softly, but their eyes were sharp. They knew about the missing developer. They knew she had evidence. But they believed they could outrun the truth. Just a few more hours, they told themselves. A little more time, and the money would arrive. The bell rang. HT Boston went public. The stock price soared faster than anyone expected. Investors cheered. Hosts on television almost shouted with excitement. It seemed like nothing could stop the rise. But far from the noise, the quiet developer opened her laptop in a small, borrowed apartment. She uploaded everything, the emails, the spreadsheets, the chat logs. She sent them to independent reporters, small watchdog groups, and online forums known for exposing fraud. Then she waited. It took only 37 minutes for the first leak to break. Like a crack in a dam, it spread quickly. People gasped as they read. Forums lit up. News outlets rushed to confirm. Traders panicked. The truth poured out faster than the stock price could rise. Then the drop began. Executives scrambled to deny everything. They called the documents taken out of context. They blamed former employees, disgruntled workers, anyone but themselves. But the wave was too strong. The lies were too many. And the world had finally opened its eyes. In less than 2 hours, HT Boston stock had fallen from the heavens to the dirt. Families lost savings. Young investors cried in their cars. And the cautious analyst, the one who suspected something early, sat alone in his office, staring at the blinking red numbers, whispering, "I knew it!" But knowing is not the same as stopping. The fallout came quickly. Investigations opened. Executives resigned. Some disappeared entirely. Workers packed their belongings into cardboard boxes, walking out in silence, wondering how a dream had turned into a storm. The quiet developer never revealed her identity publicly. Some said she moved to another city. Others said she left the tech world altogether. But her actions remained, echoing through the industry like a warning bell. What happened to HT Boston was more than a financial disaster. It was a reminder of how easily hope can be weaponized. How the promise of fast wealth can blind even the most careful minds. How stories, beautiful, glowing stories, can be used to deceive. The world slowly returned to normal, but people remembered the lesson. A company built on lies will fall the moment truth touches it. And somewhere, in some new basement office, another dream was being born. But dreams, my friend, must be built with honest hands. Otherwise, they are only ghosts waiting to collapse. If this story opened your eyes, remember to like, subscribe, and share it. We tell these tales so we may walk a little wiser in a world full of shadows. Until next time, stay curious and stay careful.